Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Valpo Football Preview, along with head coach Dave Cicchini. This is Todd Eichow, and Dave, we start with obviously one of the great Valpo victories in recent years, a very good Butler team, and then you throw in the fact that such a rivalry game and a great atmosphere, and it was a great performance on all three sides of the ball for you.
Yeah, our kids really stepped up, came to play. You're absolutely right. It's the biggest game of the season, getting a chance to play for the Hoosier helmet, having to go to Butler, and to come away with a victory like that in such a hard-fought contest. Hats off to our players. They really showed up and played a great game.
And there haven't been many close games at Butler in recent years for Valpo. Not only was this relatively close game, but it was a game that you guys took charge early on. You had a great first quarter and sort of set the tone for the entire game.
Yeah, Butler started off with the ball, had a really long drive, ate up, I think, about 6.5 minutes of clock. Our defense did a great job in holding them to a field goal in that first opening drive, and then our offense kind of took over and had a couple of really big plays that got us on the board, and we scored 17 straight points, and from that point on, Butler was really playing catch-up, and with our defense forcing a couple of critical turnovers along the way, that just allowed us to always stay kind of one step ahead of them. I mean, they did a great job. They didn't give up. They fought hard. They had made some plays on their own, but that big first quarter really is what set the tone for the rest of the game.
We talked a week ago that, the Valpo program has moved to a level where you can compete with the upper echelon teams in the league. Butler seems to be pretty consistent year after year, being in the top half. Mm-hmm. This looks really good going forward. It's going to be a great game every year now going forward, and I think that's kind of hats off to the elevation of the Valpo football program.
Yeah,
to reach that status.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's no question that we've been able to hang with just about every team that we've played with in the conference this year, and certainly our level of talent has gotten better. The level of physicality that our team's been able to play for 60 minutes has gotten better over the past 2 years. And the greatest thing that we keep talking about is we're not done yet. We know that we're better days are ahead of us. We're still going to be a team that can get better from year to year and hopefully keep rising up those standings.
You mentioned a key word, physicality. Mm. And we've talked about the Valpo offense gotten better and better. Over 300 points this year. That hadn't happened since 2003 for a Valpo team. Mm. But the big change in the last month, I think, has been the physicality of your defense. And boy, on big plays, they had a 4th and 1, and Drew Snoffer comes up and he meets the guy in the hole and gets a stop. We're seeing more and more plays like that, big hits and key points in the game. And that is the main reason why I think you guys have won 4 of the last 5 games.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it starts with the turnovers. Again, our defense was able to force 2 big turnovers. And you look at the last 3 games that we've won, that's been a big part of it. That turnover ratio has been so tilted in our favor. But you're absolutely right. The physicality, stopping the run, our opponents, we've played some teams that have been very talented, have been able to run the football against a lot of football teams this year. And our players have been able to step up and hold them well below their average. The big hits, Nick Turner has been instrumental, in the middle, just stepping up and being a great physical presence there as well. Getting James Reed back, Tristan De La Rosa's, coming off of the knee injury, just as the season went on, he got more comfortable with that, and all of that has added up to just a defense that's really gotten better and better.
I want to mention one other player on the defense, Jalen Leandre, who this past week you asked to go heads up against one of the best receivers in the league, and he made a few plays, mm-hmm. but Jalen was there play after play after play, maybe played his best game in a Crusader uniform, and here's a veteran cornerback with all these other young cornerbacks, mm-hmm. To work with, and you asked the veteran to guard this guy, and he did a great job.
Sure, we asked him to shadow wherever he lined up, and again, kind of going along with that, we talked at the end of the game a little bit about bending but not breaking. We didn't give up the big plays. He always kept the receiver from beating him deep, rallied, made some big tackles, and then when the opportunity came for him to get a pick, he jumped and stepped in front of the ball that Drew Snoffer deflected away, and was able to really be a part of that big momentum swinging moment in the third quarter.
Now you got 1 game left, and it's another great challenge. Here's a Dayton football team. Kind of, you look at what they've done, it's sort of mirrored what Valpo has done. They've been hot the last month. They've won 4 out of their last 5. They struggled to score points earlier. Their defense has been consistent, but their quarterback, Alex Jaski, came back a month ago, and they've played much better with him.
Yeah, he's an outstanding football player. He's a threat to run the ball, which is kind of what Dayton does. They're a run-first type of a team, but he's very talented with his arm, and he's just gotten better and better over the last couple of years of being a better and more accurate downfield passer. So he really is a force to be reckoned with, and since he's been healthy, they've really elevated themselves to the Dayton of the past, who were consistently fighting for the league championship. But with him being down, they really had a rough first start to the season, and that really knocked them out of contention for the title early on. So we're going into it with identical league records and identical season records, so it's going to be a great game. Our players obviously are flying high. We've got to make sure that we don't have a letdown after the big performance that we had on Saturday, but if we're able to avoid that, I think it's going to be a great game.
Dave, overall, the progression of the team, not only this year, but over your 4 years there, it has to be sort of rewarding to the coaching staff. Right? These are the kids we're bringing in. Now here they are finally seniors, and the program is at a completely different state than it was when you came in.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we're really happy, number one for them, because we've got great players on our team, not just in terms of their talent, but the character that they have. I mean, you really root for them, and any time that you recruit somebody and you sit in their living room with their mom and dad and talk to them about, what you're going to help them, accomplish over their 4 years, both on the football field, but also in the classroom and getting a Valpo degree. And it's great to see them get to the point where they're ready to step out into the world, get a great job, move on there, but also having some really positive memories from their 4 years here in terms of just building a foundation for a program that we hope will bring championships to this university very soon.
And we look at all the teams you've played, and you see all these seniors and seniors. You just don't have that many.
Right.
And you talk about a foundation. Certainly the future looks great.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 8 starters that'll be returning on defense and 9 starters that will be returning on offense. An awful lot of good and experienced football players, and a lot of guys that have kind of learned how to win, built up some confidence in themselves and their teammates, and that's something that we really got to grow on as we look into next season.
Certainly the future looks very, very exciting, and Dave, good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Todd.
For the head coach, Dave Cicchini, this is Todd Eichel. Thanks for joining us this week on Valpo Football Preview.